Welcome to Unmasked, where we talk about real hurts, real struggles, but we offer real hope. My name is Karis, and I'm so glad to have you watching with us today. If you are looking for other places that you can find My Coleman TV, we are on Spectrum 180, on the Roku, and on Facebook Live. You can also find us on all the different podcast platforms. So lots of different ways to stay in touch with us and all the great TV shows that we offer to you guys. Over the last few weeks, we have talked a lot about what's happening in our world, right? With the pandemic and the quarantine, the anxiety that everybody is dealing with, and just wanting to get back to life, right? We talked last week about finding that new normal, even when we get to go back to the way things used to be, not to necessarily go back to all of those old habits, but to really take some of the things that we have been doing over the last 30 to 45 days and really apply those things in our lives and within our world and the community around us. So today, I just wanted to share some advice that I got from my LaLa. Now, I know some of you may be sitting there saying, who is LaLa? Who is she talking about? So my LaLa is my grandmother. I don't know about you all, but we have different names for our grandparents. My parents are the same way. They have different names that our kids came up with, and my cousin, my oldest cousin, he named my grandmother LaLa, and so that's what we call her. She is celebrating, y'all, her 92nd birthday, April 30th. I think that is this Thursday. So she has lived a long, incredible life. She has been through a lot of things, the Great Depression, many other things, and now she can add a pandemic to that. And she is an amazing, amazing woman. And several years ago, I was with her in her kitchen on Christmas morning. She lives in a little town called Belden, Mississippi, which is right outside of Tupelo. So all of you who are Elvis fans, you know about Tupelo. But I was with her in her kitchen. We were drinking our coffee, and we were getting ready for my kiddos to get up and see what they had gotten for Christmas morning, all of their presents. And I was just sitting, and I was talking with my LaLa, and I was asking her just how she was feeling, how she was doing about life. And what she had to share with me was so impactful. I can still remember that moment. I can still remember her words as she looked at me and shared this advice with me that I believe is so important for us all to live by today as we move forward, as we are in this season that we are in this world. And as she was talking with me, and as she was telling me just how everything was going for her in her life, she told me, she said, you know what, Kiris? I really don't focus on just surviving. I want to thrive. I want to thrive in my life. I want to live, and I want to experience it the way God intended for me to experience it. So now that was a few years ago when she was in her 80s. So even then, to hear this amazing woman in her 80s tell me that she wanted to thrive and experience life, that was huge, and that was a game changer for me. So I want to say that to you all. As we are sitting in our homes, as we are sitting in a quarantine state, wherever you may be watching, it's going to be different for many of us. You may live in a different city or a different state than I live in, so you're going to have different rules that you are having to follow right now. But once those rules are lifted, and even now, I would say, as we are trying to live within these guidelines, we don't need to just look to survive. We are going to have to go out and tell our brain, tell our body that we are ready to thrive and move forward. I get it. Many of you, many of us are scared. We hear all these things on the news. We hear all of these opinions from different experts, from different walks of life. And it is so easy to be gripped with fear and just think, I just want to survive. I just want to get through. But just as my LaLa said, we are missing out if we just focus on surviving and we don't look for ways that we can thrive. When I look at fear, I look at it this way: false evidence appearing real. See, even with anxiety, it takes the thoughts and the threat of what could be real, what could be a danger, and it makes it appear real. So that is why oftentimes with anxiety, we experience fear, and that is paralyzing. There is no thriving within fear. For us, we have to look for ways that we can move forward in faith. We have to look for ways that we can thrive within the rules and the guidelines that we have been given. And there are ways that we can do that. We can look at things that we feel gifted or talented in. We can look at ways that we are speaking to others within our community or within our own homes. There are many different things that we can do, but I want to challenge you and myself, even as I'm talking, to live our lives the way my LaLa does and to go out and thrive. When we had her birthday, when she turned 90, she wanted a big party, she wanted a band, and she wanted to have fun. And y'all, the lady that was out there the most on that dance floor was my 90-year-old grandmother. And still, 2 years later, she's dancing circles around all of us. She is truly thriving. She is truly looking for ways to go out and enjoy and live life the way God intended. So let's all go out and live our life the way my LaLa does. Let's look for ways to move in faith and not be paralyzed by fear. I know we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks, but if you need to turn your television and your social media off longer during the day and the evening, do it. Whatever it takes for us to get back to thriving in life and going after it the way that we are meant to. Let's not live in fear anymore. Let's not live in the what ifs, but let's live in the possibility of what could be. Because there is still so much possibility and so much hope and so much light out there for us to go after, and it's time for us to do that. We may need to get creative in the ways that we can, but it is time for us to not look at just surviving, and let's start looking at ways that we can thrive in our life. Let's teach our children how to do that, teach our grandchildren how to do that, and continue generations of thriving, just as my grandmother is doing. So thank you guys for listening, for taking in that piece of advice from my LaLa. If you want to continue following me, I have a website, KaraSnyder.com. I'm actually beginning a new course, a deep dive course into overcoming anxiety. You can find more information on that at my website. Again, KaraSnyder.com. That's going to begin May 4th. You can also find me on all the different social media platforms at Kara Snyder. Thank you guys for joining in. Know that I am praying for you. You are not alone, and there is hope. And I'll talk to you guys soon.